This is Nisandeh Neta, and we're going to talk today to Oscar Bulthuis. And Oscar wrote his book, which we'll talk about it in a moment, after he did the Write Your Book in 28 Days. And like many hundreds of our students that did the course, he wrote the book, and he'll tell more about it. He published it. It helps him right now in his business and everything. And usually what we're doing is that we're sharing the success stories of our students, and they talk a little bit about the book and how they did that and what it delivered them. And this is the first time that we're actually trying to do something more than that, to create kind of a case study, where I'm going to ask Oscar about the whole process. How did he start the whole idea of writing a book? How did he write the book? How did he publish? How does he use it to grow his business? And not just all the beautiful parts and how it was easy and effortless, but also some more challenges, some of the problems that came in, how he overcame them, what are his plans for the future, etc. So without further ado, welcome, and
yes.
Thank you for being here. And so how did you get the idea for the first time that you wanted to write a book? When was it? How did it happen?
The first time for that I thought of writing a book was about 3 years ago. I was at home at that moment, and I made a change in my career. I was a former employee and I started for myself. And in the past I traveled a lot. I made 2 world journeys, and I learned so much of that actually I used that in starting up my business. I did want to share my knowledge about traveling the world and what I experienced in that time. But I did want to write something, and that was the start of maybe I should one day write a book about me traveling the world.
But then you decided to write a business book, right?
Exactly.
And why did you think that it's important for you to actually write a book for your professional life?
What happened was when I started my business, I knew pretty much which steps I had to take. And then all the starting entrepreneurs, they asked me, how do you do that? And I said, well, it's like me traveling the world. I know how to prepare that. I know which steps to take. And then all the things fell in place. I thought, well, this should be the topic of my book, starting your business or making a change in your business. And like if it's a big journey you are making. And then it's not only a book which is nice for my parents or my friends, but then I can actually help all the people with my knowledge by using this metaphor.
All right, and what were your hopes with the book? Before you even wrote it, what were your hopes that it will deliver you?
In the beginning my hope was, well, if I can only help one person start up a business or making a big change in his business by writing my book, then I should do it. So that was the first intention. This book just has to help people. And well, of course, in the process of writing, you build up your expectations, and that's exactly what I did. And then I wanted to have this book in as many bookstores as I can, so as many people can use it.
All right. And why did you choose the Write Your Book in 28 Days course as your starting point?
What I did is I started the writing of my book about 2 years ago. I made a plan for writing an ebook or something like that, and after about 2.5 months I got stuck. I was introduced to the business university, and one of the chapters was Write Your Book in 28 Days, and I thought, well, this is exactly what I needed. So I just postponed my writing for 1 month, and I waited until the course. And I think, well, now I have the knowledge and the skill to just do it.
So you had quite a clear idea before you came to the course what you want to write about.
Yes.
Did it change in any way through the course or through what you got, or you got just more clarity about that?
Yes, I did have a pretty good idea of what to write and for whom to write. But what helped me very much was a structure and making it a real book and not just some chapters which are nice to read like you see often in e-books. It's small, but I really got enough instruments and structure to make it a real proper book.
Okay. Tell us a bit about the book. Who is it for exactly? What is it about?
Okay, well, my book is called Ondernemen is net reizen. In English, it's business is like traveling, it's like making a journey. And it's a clear and practical compass for successful entrepreneurship. And what I do in my book is I compare business with traveling all the time. So the metaphor and all my business and travel experience are interweaved into each other, which makes it actually a fun book to read. And I haven't told you that, but I'm not a big reader myself. And because I often think books are a bit dull and I can't get through them. So I thought, well, when I'm going to write a book, it's going to be a different book. And it's going to be fun, it's going to be nice to read. So we made a lot of illustrations in it with airplanes and people climbing mountains and assignments. And it just, you know, it has to look really nice. I introduce a method of 6 steps, which is basically the method I used my entire life to plan and my trips. And now I transformed it to how to plan my business, and I'm pretty sure that that people who traveled a bit love this book actually, and they can use it for helping the business.
Right. So when was it published?
It is published in May this year, and we are planning actually for the coming year about January, the 3rd edition of the book. Writing a book may sound very complicated for people who have never done it, and including me. But then I started to write and structure my book, and so the actual writing was pretty much done in a month. And then I had to search for a publisher, which I found actually in an instant. I just approached some publishers, and actually the first one I approached, he saw the manuscript and he said, "This is a great book, I want to have it, I want to publish this." So that was for my book. So then we started the marketing campaign about January. We started to do that when the book was not even finished yet, but then we also already started to make the sales page and do some blogging and some... and it picked up really well. And then in the book party, the due launch was in May 24. But before that, we received a call from a bank, the SNS Bank, that they were very interested in a book. These are often huge organizations, which takes them a lot of time to decide whether or not to do it. Except this bank, the SNS Bank, they just wanted to have such a book. So they approached us actually and said, well, we are looking for exactly a book like this to give to all starting entrepreneurs who open an account with us the next 3 months. So that was kind of nice, so to say. For my publisher, it was the first time for him that had happened before. It never happened before. And so we said, well, what to do? But the bank wanted to have the book at May 1st. And I just told you the book party was due at May 24, so we had to do some tricks and some acrobatics to to deal with that. But we managed to and then of course we doubled the first edition straight away. So the book was actually sold out before it was even printed.
That's fantastic. It doesn't happen very often. It happens if you follow the steps, but it doesn't happen every time. So that's fantastic to hear that. And but since then, since May, it's also in the stores, and people are buying it?
It is in the store, like of course on the online stores, and some bookstores will pick it up. But my plan was to have it in as many stores in Holland as I would like to have. And that's pretty difficult to get into a shop. So I did try to approach some big chains. My publisher said, no, this is not going to work, you know, it's too hard. Only 1 in 500 published books will get into the shops, and you know, and that's very hard. But I'm pretty stubborn sometimes. So about 3 weeks ago, I wrote again a very nice letter and did some marketing, and sent my book to Libris, Bladzijde. These are two. Actually, that's a kind of chain where, besides Bruna and ACO, where about 200 bookstores are committed to, and they decided to, advise this on every to every bookstore in their chain.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That sounds cool.
So,
very, very cool.
Goal achieved.
Great. So when you're looking at all these results, I mean, those are pretty impressive results for a first-time author.
Yes.
In Holland. That's kind of the end result. Now I want to go back into the process, into how actually
Sure.
it happens. So we'll start with the first part, with the writing your book. So you came out with the course, you got all the ideas and the information, and you knew how to structure and everything. What then? How long did it take you to start writing? How did you do the process? Just tell us a little bit about the writing process.
Basically, I think the writing process consists of two parts. One of them is structuring the book, and the other part is writing. I spent about 2 weeks of getting the structure right.
That's the blueprint.
And
right?
that's what we call, the blueprint. And what I did is I had a wall in my office, which is empty. And I put yellow post-its on it. For every chapter, I put a yellow post-it, just horizontally. So there were about 15 to 20 post-its. And below that, I put the paragraphs with the words of the paragraph, like you taught me in the system.
This is principally, this process is called blueprinting of the book, and you need to know in advance, before you write even one word in your book, the way that I'm teaching it, before you write even one word in the book, you need to know the structure of what we call the blueprint of every single chapter, actually of every single page. You know every single page in advance what you're going to write, and the way that Oscar is describing it is how he visually actually put that on a board using post-it notes, because then you can actually play with it and decide this point goes before that point and the other, and you can see the whole map of the book in front of you before you even start writing. And the way that that we're teaching the system is that you do not start before that is complete, so you don't forget anything, and you're not creating anything double, and you make sure that the most value to the reader is right.
Exactly.
So that process took you about 2 weeks, you say?
That took me about two weeks. So then my whole wall was actually yellow.
Cool.
Which was good actually. For me it worked very well to do this in this way, because every day when I went to my office, I saw all these yellow pages and papers, and then I thought, oh no, maybe every day I stood about a quarter of before this wall and I changed something, and that process took me about, I guess, 2 months. So then it was April, and then I was really satisfied. About the structure, about the topics I wanted to write, about the power words I want to use, and so I thought, okay, now the structure is right. What I then did is I numbered all the post-its, and then I just took them all off the wall, shake them. I took a week vacation, where I was all by myself, and I just took the whole pile of yellow post-its and a writing block. No computer, just a writing block, some classical music, 12 CDs of Mozart, and then I just started to write for a whole week. What I did is the actual writing is, which is also taught in the course, is you write for 5 minutes per post-it, and for me it worked pretty well to work at random and write as many hours a day. Maybe for some people it's better just to write some hours a day. For me it worked perfectly to write 10 hours a day. Wow. What I did to keep myself motivated, besides the music, was I had a box of coins, and at the start of the day I decided how many paragraphs I wanted to write that day. So for instance 50, which sounds a lot, maybe not to you, but it sounds as a lot. But so that's 50 times 5 minutes of writing.
Yeah, just to clarify, it's not a paragraph, but it's actually almost a page.
It's almost a page. Yeah, if you let me just quickly show. Like, I'm not quite sure if this is on the page, but this is like a paragraph, and then the next one starts.
So about 2/3 of a page will take about 5 minutes to write when you're using the system that we're teaching you.
Exactly.
So you wanted to write 50 of those a day?
Yes.
Okay.
And so I made a box of coins, and then for each paragraph, and in that box were 50 coins.
Okay.
Or 45, or depending on my goal for that day. And then after each paragraph, I put a coin from one side to the other side as my reward.
Okay.
And then, of course, when you keep on writing, you see the boxes, this one is getting empty, that one is getting full. So that worked for me very, very well.
It's a fantastic idea. I think I'm going to recommend it to the people in the
You should.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right.
So, and then really after 1 week, after 5 days of writing, and I wrote pen and paper. I didn't use a computer because that distracts too much and that's too tempting to check the email or you see the underlined when you make a typo. So for me it worked best to write pen and paper. And so really in 5 days all the paragraphs were written.
Wow. Wow. So there are several ways to do that, and in the course I'm recommending for different people to do the different way. I'm writing very much like Oscar, so I'm taking usually a week off, and I will just write as many hours as it takes. It's pieces of 5 minutes. Every what he calls a paragraph, I don't call it a paragraph, but it's pretty much almost a page of writing actually, and each one of those you can write in any order you want, like Oscar did that. You don't need to start at the beginning and finish at the end like normal books are being written. If you structure it, if you create the blueprint the right way, then actually it's very, very easy to take any post-it you want, any part in the book, in the beginning, in the end, in the middle, anywhere you want it, and just write about this. Because you know exactly what to write just because of the little information that is on this post-it in this case. And usually the way I personally work, I would write about 10 of those post-it in an hour. Because it takes about 5 minutes. It's not about, it takes 5 minutes, right? You work with a timer, and after 5 minutes are over, you stop, right? So basically you write for 5 minutes every time. So I usually write for 10 times in a row, so it's about 50 minutes. Take a 10 minutes break, walk around, have some a drink of water, take some stretches, and then I go back and sit, and this way a few hours. So when Oscar is describing that he finished 40 to 50 post-it a day, that's about 4 to 6 hours, maybe a little bit more of writing, but it's, you know, can be 30 to 40 pages a day this way. So in 5 days, it's not very difficult to finish a book of that size, and that's the engine or the basis, the center of the system.
Yes.
And I'm very happy to hear how you write and your additions with the coins or the reward or a way to show this is where I was and this is where I am and how it's been growing. Actually, this is a fantastic idea. So I'm gonna actually recommend that. Were there points during the writing process that you felt that you stuck or that you're frustrated, or was it flowing? Did you get stuck in a writer's block? Anything that you needed to handle?
I didn't have a writer's block to start with, not at all. I was stuck before I went to the course. I did write something yet, but I was not satisfied about it yet. So that was basically the only problem I encountered in the writing process. After I found my structure, which took me a while. I said it was on my wall for 2 months, which is maybe a long time, but for me it was. I understood that I had to have this ready and good for me just before I started to write. I didn't want to make that mistake again. So for me it was important to have that, not perfect, but perfect enough to start my writing. And after that, the actual writing went like a week. So I did not have any writer's block whatsoever.
Fantastic, fantastic. Actually, when I'm saying when we're sharing with people and telling them you can write your book in 28 days, you can write it in much less than 28 days. But I don't include in the 28 days the times that it takes to create the blueprint, and that can take time. For most of my book, it takes about a week, which I'm not including in that. For Oscar, he described it took him 2 weeks, but then 2 months to actually perfect it and get it right.
Fine tune.
It's cooking it, and that's part of the process. So you wrote your book, and tell us a little bit about the publishing process. You said a little bit about that you just wrote to a few publishers. How was the process?
I had I read written transcript in my handwriting, and find somebody to type that in for you. Find a transcriber don't do it yourself, because then you're going to be, oh no, this should be a bit different, or that should be. Find somebody, give it, pay a couple of €100 to just type it all, and that saves a lot of time and frustration. And then, of course, I had to do some basic editing, which you should do, but then it's already typed. Do some basic editing, which you will
you
teach as well.
From the course.
Yes,
great.
Backwards and and then let somebody read it. It can be a friend, it can be a corrector, or let somebody read, and then just send it to a publisher. What I did is I Googled publishers who are involved in business publications, and for me it was very important that a publisher is approachable. Okay. So I especially looked for that, and what worked for me was that my publisher was very approachable. and he was very open to me and said, I'm going to be honest with you. If I don't like it, I will tell you. If I do like it, I'm going full in.
Okay, so you basically sent the book to that specific publisher as one of them, and did you follow it up, or they contacted you, or how was the process? How long did it take? Negotiating on contracts.
I sent my manuscript to this publisher, and he called me within a week.
Okay.
And said, I like this idea. I like the metaphor, business and traveling. It's understandable. I like your story. I like you're a starting entrepreneur. You have been an employee. You made the change. So I like the story behind it. So it's not just the book which is good. And that's also important. That for me it was important to write this book, and it should come from the heart. And a publisher will instantly notice it if a book comes from the heart, or that it's just made for like a clever way for improving your business. That's a result, in my opinion. But the starting point for me was that it should come from the heart. Like I told you, I felt like if I only sell one copy, that's good. So when the publisher approached me, we had a meeting somewhere, and we drank a coffee, and we talked details over. And in about 1 week, we had a deal.
Right. So you have a royalty deal? I
have a royalty deal. And
did you get any commitment of number of books that he's going to sell, or an estimation, or?
We did set a target. And like I said, he's very approachable. So what we did was, I said, well, I want to have as many books for giveaway, for instance, as I would like to have. Of course, I'm not going to give it to everybody, but if I think, well, this person should get my book because it can help me grow my business, then I don't want to make a phone call with my publisher, like if it's okay to give him a book. So that's the kind of agreement we made. We made an agreement on the profits. We made an agreement on the costs. We made an agreement on the editing, on the layout. For me, it was a very big deal to have this approachable layout.
Which is expensive. Which
is expensive. So I said, well, we have to find a way to deal with it. But as you can see, it's also full color. These are all expensive things. So we made a whole list where we made these details clear. And then we said, well, actually, basically, I set a target for my book, which I strongly advise. Just set a target and aim high. Aim high. And if you are only, I said, if you want to climb a big mountain, and if you only get halfway, then it's still higher than if you aim for a low mountain. So.
All right. So now you got yourself the SNS Bank that bought the books and spread it around. I saw that you had all those posters of the book.
Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. Yeah, because they, like I said, they bought the first edition before I even printed it, and to sweeten the deal for them, we offered this first edition so with their own foreword. So they can write their own foreword in it. So all these copies were sent to them, and then of course we printed the second edition straight away without the foreword. But then I walked into this bank in my town. Then I saw these big posters with my book on it, and and they had flyers in the shop with now the free book. When you open an account as a starting entrepreneur, get the book of Oscar Bulthuis, Ondernemen is net reizen, and that was a golden moment.
Absolutely. So how did you see, how did it affect your business?
It opens doors. That's basically, besides the huge boost in self-esteem, which is for starting entrepreneurs, like I still am, it's so important to have an instant success straight away, and so it boosts my self-esteem tremendously. But what I noticed was that I was asked to come on stages, to share my story or to share my knowledge, and it's very easy for me now when I want to go to a certain company that I first send them my book with a specific question, and then in 9 of 10 they are pretty much interested in because it's a nice story and you have something which is unique. When I send my book to a company, it's very easy to make a call. It's a difference when you just send a brochure, because a brochure is selling and this is teaching.
Any plans how to use that clever or creative in order to grow your business even more, or things that you already do or things that you're planning to do?
The next thing is that there will be, with my publisher, we're going to make a sequel of this book. So actually in 2 weeks, him and me will be together for a whole day to make kind of an outline for how this new book will look. So we want to have this published next year as well, because the theme of the book week next year is traveling. So we should do something with that, of course. And also I use this book for my continuity program, which I'm designing right now. And it's a program for starting entrepreneurs. Again, where I compare business like a big journey.
That's the program where you're actually going to generate passive income.
Exactly.
Okay,
yes.
which is a fantastic way to do that, using a material that is already structured well.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Are you planning to work with the same system?
Of course. It works. So yes, of course, I'm going to make the outline, to start with the why. The most important things are why I want to write a book, and who I want to help. So who I can help best. And for me, it's very important to answer these 2 questions first, and then start with the outline and all the technical stuff, basically.
All right. Anything you would do different now because you're smarter and wiser?
What I would do, I think I set my targets even higher.
Okay.
Higher targets, and I will think more about how to market the book. Not because I want to sell such, but I think this book is really good. As many people should read it. You know, it's not a lot of money to buy a book, and it will boost their business. So that's where I want to learn more to how to do better marketing, and so as many people can read my next book as well, and it should be a bestseller.
Great. All right, we're almost to the end. Anything that I should have asked, and or anything you want to share?
For all the people who want to write a book and are in doubt, or it's not only about writing a book, but any big dreams, I say just start with the dream. Be confident that it will be okay, and please enjoy your adventure.
Okay. For entrepreneurs that are either starting or in the process and have the idea of writing a book, have the thoughts to write a book, what would you recommend them?
Basically what I just said. Think about the why it's important for you to have this book. You should have your own story. Make it your own story, because that's what makes you unique. And then think about the target audience. Don't just write a book for your parents or because you want to write a book. Think about who might be interested and who might be very helped by having a book like that.
Fantastic. So, Oscar, thank you so much for being with us.
Well,
I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. I hope to see you in the coming Write Your Book in 28 days. And maybe within a year or so, we'll have you sitting in this place sharing about your book. So thank you very much, and to your success.